Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Plane. And this is starring Gerard Butler, and this is a new action thriller from director Jean-Francois Richet, who previously did Bloodfather, which I'm a huge fan of, starring Mel Gibson. And this film focuses on a pilot who finds himself caught in a war zone as he lands his plane after an electrical interference in a terrible storm. And all of his passengers are kidnapped, and he must team up with a prisoner on board to get them back. And, yep, this sounds like something that drops in January. You throw in a little Gerard Butler and you have a fun time. And, to be frank, that's all you should expect out of this. The movie's called Plane. You watch the trailer and you're just like, this is exactly what it should be. And this film, clocking in about an hour and 45 minutes or so, really moves. It does a good job of setting up the tension of building up. We care about Brody Torrance, Gerard Butler's character, and you have his daughter. He has his connection. We feel this emotional connection with him. We set up all the characters on the plane, which they could have done a lot better job of actually fleshing out some of these characters, but you know, they didn't really focus too much on that. You get like bare bones characterizations. But you get through, you have Mike Colter's character who's put on this plane, and, you know, the plane crashes, things escalate, and you have to have these two team up, and the charisma from Butler and Colter together make this a worthwhile watch. It's not the kind of film where you're just like, wow, it's so deep and resonant. It's dumb. There's a lot of illogical things that happen along the way. Certain things where it's just like, wow, you're just too, like, Torrance is too perfect of a character in this film, but you know, you can't help but love him because Gerard Butler's so great. And you know, when they really get into action, it gets intense. It's really well shot. Richet does a great job of bringing a lot out of this film in terms of the action and the tension. It builds it up. It's well shot. There's some inspired cinematography throughout the film, how the camera works. There's certain moments where I think one of the biggest things besides being dumb and easily telegraphed is there's just some tonal issues here. This feels like at times it wants to be an 80s and 90s action movie. It has the one-liners, and Colter and Butler are throwing them out there. It gets silly. Like the climax, which also, all of the antagonists in this are just so thinly veiled foreign, like, terrorist kind of characters that you're just like, this definitely feels like it was made in the 80s and the 90s. But it's the kind of thing where you have this climactic, like, confrontation at the end around this plane, and something happens to resolve that conflict that is so absurd. But the way, like, the camera pushes and builds up the intensity to it and the anticipation, you're just like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. So much of the audience was having a blast with this. But then there's times where this just gets really, really serious out of nowhere. And I feel like this probably would have benefited more from, like, a Die Hard tone. Die Hard's serious. There's actual danger. People die. But we have a blast. This film doesn't seem to want to take that last step to just be, this is ridiculous, this situation is absurd, them getting out of this is insane, but it's such a thrilling ride, let's have some fun with it. It just at times is way too serious. There's one particular confrontation between Gerard Butler and this other character that is so intense and so well shot. I'm just like, wow. I'm like, oh my. Like, it was brutal. It was so brutal. The sound mixing and editing along with that just ramped up that brutality. And in the end, this is just a crazy ride that's worth a watch. Don't go in expecting a great film, but Butler and Colter do so much work to make this a fun ride, and I enjoyed it. But those are my thoughts on Plane. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.